Hi guys, how's everybody doing? So I was thinking, I warm up my car again. So I warm it up every day just to make sure that the battery doesn't discharge. So I was thinking, let's do another car talk. So the last time I talked about buying brand new versus buying secondhand. What are the advantages and disadvantages of buying brand new versus secondhand? So I was thinking, why don't we talk about, if money wasn't an option, what are the top 5 cars, so luxury cars, top 5 luxury and top 5 non-luxury brands would you buy that are readily available here in the Philippines? So Philippine market cars that are available. As some cars are not available, unfortunately, but I wrote my top 5 luxury and top 5 non-luxury cars that I would want. But the thing is, even though money is not an issue, it has to be cars that you could actually drive every day. So you should drive these cars, park these cars on, on areas that are tight to park in, diba? Alam mo naman, the Philippines, very unpredictable yung roads natin. Some are very wide, smooth, some are narrow and medyo rough roads, diba? A lot of potholes, sharp humps. So it has to be something that you could drive. That's the most important. So I would take out yung mga really high-end sports cars, ba? Like Ferrari. You can't drive a Ferrari every day. I mean, it's 2 people, it's very low. Once it rains, you're medyo delikado sa mga baha, and floods like that, right? So it has to be something that you can drive. So coupes, subcompact to full-size sedans. Same goes with SUVs, compact to full-size SUVs, vans even for your family. So let's talk about all of this, and I'll tell you my top 5. Let's start with top 5 non-luxury brands. So these are Mazda, Toyota, Mitsubishi, Nissan, Peugeot, Chevrolet, Ford, etc., Honda. So these are the cars that are readily available in the Philippines. We don't have a lot of brands like Citroen, we don't have Infiniti, we don't have Cadillac. So we don't have these brands yet in the Philippines. So I'm just mentioning what are available here in the Philippine market. So my number 1 pick would be the Mazda CX9. The reason why I picked Mazda also as a brand, because I think Mazda does a really good job in developing their cars. Instead of competing with, let's say, Toyota, Mitsubishi, and Honda, they try to compete with luxury brands. I'm not saying they're a luxury brand, but in terms of their design and interior quality, and even interior design and technology, they're up there with luxury brands like Lexus, BMW, and Volvo, and Audi. So it's nice to see a car brand like that's not that big, compete very well in today's market, and they're doing very well. Back in the day, Mazda wasn't doing very well when it was owned, when Ford used to own Mazda. But now that they're an independent company, they're doing very well. So I chose the CX9. First, it's if you look at the car, it's very beautiful. I'll show photos of each car that I picked. It's basically a 2.5 liter turbo 4-cylinder, so it has 227 horsepower and 420 Newton meters of torque. So this car is basically, for me, it looks like a luxury SUV. So it's I would categorize this, you could say it's a full size, but I would say it's a mid-size SUV. It's a 7-seater SUV, but it's very, very nice inside and very comfortable. It has good amount of power too. I mean, 225 to 250 horsepower depending on the fuel that you use. So high octane fuel gives you 250 horsepower. So it's a great car. Okay, so that's my one non-luxury car that SUV that I picked. Second is the Toyota RAV4. So it's a 2.5 liter, has over 200 horsepower, so 203 horsepower. I think it's the most for a non-turbo engine being sold here in the Philippines. Compared to the gas Honda CR-V that I think it only has 164 horsepower. With a CVT transmission. With the Toyota RAV4, it has an 8-speed Toyota automatic transmission. So it has good power, it's roomy, comfortable, and of course Toyota parts are always available, even after CASA and warranty. And it's not a common SUV anymore. just because that the number one, I guess the number one ladder frame SUV that they sell at Toyota competes with the RAV4, which is the Fortuner, and also they have a Rush, they have a Innova. So price point wise, it's quite expensive, the RAV4. The top of the line can go over 2 million, I think 2.2 million for a front wheel drive, not even an all-wheel drive, and it's not really complete in spec. But the only reason why I chose this because I always believe a better, better engine for power to weight ratio. So 200 horsepower is not bad for a car like that, and it's very comfortable and roomy. So that's the purpose why I chose that. Then the third one is the Honda Civic RS Turbo. So this is the only car that I chose in all the cars that I chose for luxury and non-luxury to have a CVT. So that's a continuous variable transmission. So it has no gears, basically. It's run by pulleys and belts. The reason why I chose it, because out of all the cars that compete with it, like the Mazda 3, Toyota Altis, before the Ford Focus, and what other cars like Mitsubishi Lancer, but they don't even sell that anymore. The only reason why it looks good, and it's Honda, so I know it's a decent, built well. Though it's a CVT, I would choose Toyota and Honda CVTs more than other CVTs, just because they've been doing CVTs for quite a while. Like in Toyota, since the time that they developed the Prius, they were already using CVTs. So I know it's reliable in that sense. And it's also roomy, it looks good. It has a small engine, a 1.5, but has around 178 horsepower, I think. But it has decent torque, 220. Then it's it's turbo compared to the naturally aspirated engines of, let's say, the Mazda 3, and stuff like that. Mazda 3 would be my second, but I chose the Honda Civic because of the space. So it gives more space than the 3. The 3 at the back is quite tight. But yeah, that's the reason why I chose the Honda Civic RS. So number 4 would be the Suzuki Jimny. So I would choose Suzuki Jimny because it's a cute car. It's nice. It's small but rugged because it's a ladder frame chassis. It's all-wheel drive, so you could take it off-road. You could take it anywhere actually. It's a proven car. It's well built, and it looks good. And you could customize the car and make it your own car. So a lot of people, when they buy Suzuki Jimnys here in the Philippines, they customize it from wheels to tires to LED bars to snorkels and stuff like that. So it really looks good for not a lot of money. I think top of the line, it's a little over 1 million, 1.1 million pesos for Suzuki Jimny for all-wheel drive automatic, and you could opt for a manual also. So that's my 4th pick. And my 5th pick for non-luxury is not really a common car. Actually, in all honesty, I haven't seen it in the Philippines on the roads. It's the Kia Stinger GT. So the reason why I picked the Kia Stinger for a non-luxury sedan, it's priced now at 2.850. When it started, I think they were pricing at 3.3, but nobody's buying it. So it's 2.850 to get a 3.3 liter V6. So it has a turbo, and it has basically 370 horsepower and 510 torque, and it's rear wheel drive. So that's a classic sports sedan setup, a rear wheel drive, just like BMWs, which I love, and it has a lot of power, and it's very spacious too. You could compare it to the size of a 5 Series BMW E-Class, Audi A6, Volvo S60, cars like that. So it's big, and it's fast, and it looks good because it was developed, the designer, I don't know the designer, but I know it was co-designed by some German engineers for the rear wheel drive system and the engine as well. So it's pretty good. I mean, it's a great car with great reviews all around. For a non-luxury sedan, I would choose that. I mean, there's in the Philippines not a lot that could compete with that car. It's unfortunate that here in the Philippines, Kia is still considered as a, there's a stigma with Korean cars. I think the only Korean car that really sells well brand is Hyundai, just because Hyundai was first introduced in the Philippines. But I think Kia, fantastic cars, really. You're talking about Stinger, you're talking about the Sorento, the Sportage, cars like that. So that's my 5th pick. Guys, let's talk about my top 5 luxury cars that I would want if money wasn't an issue. So I'll save the last car for the last car that I picked. That's my favorite car. That's the car I really want, and I'll explain why. So the first on my list is a Porsche Macan S SUV. So it's the small, it's the basically the compact SUV of Porsche. So it's the Macan S. So it's the turbo 6-cylinder engine. So basically it has 348 horsepower and 480 Newton meters of torque. It's all-wheel drive, and it's a 7-speed PDK. So it's a dual clutch transmission. So Porsche always uses dual clutch, or PDK they call it. It's a great SUV. It's not big, so it's basically like a size of a CRV. I think it's even smaller inside. I've seen it, and it's really small inside. But the nice thing with that is it's drivable. I mean, you could drive it every day with your family. It's easy to park. Yes, it has a lot of power when you need it, when you go to Baguio, to Tagaytay, or wherever. I mean, it's a great SUV with that, that Porsche DNA. So it's a great car. It's pretty reliable for a luxury brand. Under Volkswagen Group, Porsche is pretty reliable as a sports car brand. So that's why I chose the Porsche Macan S. So the second one is a full-size sedan. I mean, everybody wants a full-size sedan. So if you're a businessman, that's the perfect sedan, right? So I chose the Mercedes S-Class. So any S-Class, so S350, gas or diesel, S400, S500, even S600, S63 or S65 AMG. So it doesn't matter to you. It depends on how much you want to spend. But the S-Class, fantastic car. It's big, it's luxurious, beautiful dual screens for the instrument cluster. It has a 12.3 on each side. So it's beautiful. I mean, if you've seen the interior of the S-Class, I'm telling you, it's one of the nicest interiors in the market today in that segment. So it competes with 7 Series on the A8, Volvo S90, so cars like that. So every time I think about a luxury full-size sedan, I always think about an S-Class. Not saying that 7 Series or the A8 is not. It's just that in movies, right, when you used to watch, even presidents, they always have an S-Class, right? So it's I think it's nice to have that as your full-size sedan. So my third pick is a Lexus LC500 GT car. So it's a Lexus, it's like a sports GT car. So it's a naturally aspirated V8 engine, which is not common nowadays because a lot of cars, sports cars nowadays, have a turbo, twin turbo, supercharger setup. This one's not naturally aspirated, so it has 467 horsepower. So it's a lot of power, 527 Newton meters of torque, and it's rear wheel drive. So the nice thing about the LC500, first, it's a Lexus, so it's well built. It's a Japanese style sports car. But the nice thing is it's comfortable. It's a GT car, so a Grand Tour car, so it's comfortable. You could drive it anytime. It's quite a big car for a two-door, but it's nice. It's really nice. If I were you, just go on YouTube and check that car out. The interior quality is amazing. So that's my third pick. So my fourth pick, it's not a common car at all, especially in the Philippines. Maybe I've seen one, but not this particular one. So please comment if I butcher the name, because I'm not sure how to pronounce it. So it's the Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio. So it's a 2.9 V6 engine with 8-speed automatic transmission. It's a rear-wheel drive car with 505 horsepower and 600 Newton meters of torque. Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio competes with M3, competes with the C63 AMG, the Audi RS4, I would assume, and yeah, cars like that. The XE-R, I think that's what you call it. But yeah, I love how that car looks, how it drives. I've driven one. It's fantastic. I mean, it's a nice car. It's not common. It has that Italian DNA in it, that that Ferrari engine in it. It's really nice. It's a car that is nice to have, but it's quite expensive. I think in the Philippines they're selling it for around, I think, 9 something million pesos. It's crazy. it's a crazy amount of money for a car like that, but it's nice. If you have the money, why not? Why not? It's, you only live once, right? It's a great car. Alfa Romeo's been, you know, forever. It's been a car, you know, it's a car company that has a great DNA. So that's why I picked it, because it's not common. At the same time, it's a great car. Yes, questionable reliability, but that's about it. But in, you know, sometimes when you have high-end cars, you really don't think about reliability anymore, because if you have the funds to pay for it, reliability is no problem. So my last, and this is the car that I think is it's gonna be one of the last cars that you'll see on the road that's pure raw power and looks. It's a mix of modern and a mix of cars from 25 years ago. So this is the M2 competition. So the M2 competition I chose because I have a BMW E46. I love BMWs, as you all know. But the M2 competition is about the same size as the BMW E46 that was built from 98 to 2005. So it's not a big car, but it has, you know, it has great power. So guys, the M2 competition, the reason why I chose that car is because it's a mix of a modern and old school cars. So it's very analog in the way the interior looks. So there's not a lot of technology in that car. I mean, in terms of safety and of course the engine, the power, but in terms of the look, overall look, it still has analog gauges. There is a touchscreen there, but it looks like the old BMWs, like the E46, the E36, even the E30s. So I like it because it's a good size car. You could drive it every day, even though it has 404 horsepower, which is a lot. It comes with a 7-speed dual clutch DCT transmission. So it's a car that you could actually drive for all occasions, meaning you could drive it every day to work. You could drive it on long trips. You could bring your family, even though it's a two-door, it's a coupe. But for average size Filipinos, I guess, so from 5'6" to 5'9", I guess, can sit at the back also. I mean, it's pretty roomy for a two-door. But the nice thing, like I said, it reminds me of the older BMWs. And I appreciate that they did that car, because you won't see a lot of, you know, these cars, you know, would be the last of these type of cars. Because every car nowadays, every manufacturer is going fully electric, and some are even from rear-wheel drive. They're putting their cars to front-wheel drive. Smaller displacement engines with turbo engines, right? So this one still has a nice inline 6 3-liter, same engine as the M3 and M4 404. I mean, that's a lot. So I like it because it's, even though it's a modern car, it still looks, it doesn't look too modern. That's a nice thing with it. So you know it's gonna age very well. So that's my really #1 pick out of the 4 that I mentioned earlier. So yeah, the M2 competition, you know, one day I really hope that I could get that car, so I could compare it also with my E46. So it has, you know, it's like the old school and the modern car of that. So yeah, so let me know, guys, in the comment section, what's your top 5 luxury and non-luxury cars. I mean, it's nice to talk about these things, right? Yeah, I mean, the reason why I chose these 2 categories, so the other category could be the realistic one, the non-luxury one. But if you have a lot of money, why not, right? Let me know in the comment section. So you guys take care, and thanks for you know, I hope you enjoyed this video.